Yeah, I mean, nothing controversial. I'm just going to point again at the equity model, right? So, in America, because you've got municipality by municipality, county by county in a lot of places, it becomes very, very difficult to get a kind of federal level way of doing this if you're going to be moving around real estate deeds. But if what you're going to be doing is moving the equity, moving the real estate into a company and then tokenizing the equity is at least a state by state thing, and most of the rules for handling equity are set at federal level via, for example, SEC. So if you're going to have a kind of whole of America system, it's probably going to come down to equity and SPVs. The other side of this is you could probably get, I don't know, 50% of the land in America by doing like 4 dozen counties. New York and LA and, Chicago are relatively small numbers of counties by the time you get the big kind of mega cities. And so what you might wind up with is a situation where you modernize it for a bunch of cities in a state or two like Wyoming, and then the rest of the country continues to bimble along on the old basis and nobody really cares. So I'm less pessimistic about the American model, but I think that when all is said and done, it boils down to stick asset in SPV, tokenize equity in SPV, and off you go to the races, because that gets you basically everything, right? Houses, cars, fine art, you name it. If you could push the price of tokenization of an asset inside of an SPV down, it in itself becomes kind of like the new ERC 721 or even the new ERC 20. What is that token? Oh, it's an American equity token. What is the asset which is defined by that American equity token? Well, here's the deal paperwork. Maybe it's enshrined as a Mattereum asset passport, maybe it's enshrined as something else. But if you have SPVs and a tokenization of an SPV as a standard operator, there is basically no class of property that you kind of push into an SPV and go with. Then the trick becomes, how do you stop AI fakes making their way into those systems? How can you use AI to handle the transactional costs and all the rest of it? But just for real estate, that's $120 billion a year of efficiency savings by some estimates. So it's all to be played for.